channel. So 2020, the start of a brand new decade. I thought it would be great if we could do this interactive plan with me video so that I can plan my goals, you can plan your goals, and we can talk about it together. Before you think about where you want to go, you need to know where you're coming from. So I think it's very important in any type of journaling or planning that we also reflect back on our previous year and then think about how we're going to make 2020 different and better. I'm going to start off by writing all of the highlights of 2019. Highlights are just things that have happened in 2019 that you want to remember, you want to write it down, and you want to be able to think, wow, all of this happened in a year. If your 2019 wasn't the best, just remember that gold is refined in the fire. So whenever we face hard times, just know that it is shaping and molding you into the person that you are meant to be. So there's always something that we can be thankful for, no matter how devastating or how difficult it is. Like Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I know it's so much easier said than done, but you're still here. In January, I had the biggest video ever in my YouTube career, and it really just kind of jump-started everything for me. So January was definitely such a big surprise. And then in February, I was able to celebrate one of the biggest YouTube paychecks I had ever received. So that was exciting. In March, I tried a healthy living challenge that really jump-started me reflecting on the food that I eat and just the relationship that I have with food and my body, and remembering that food is fuel. In April, I went to Cabo with my friends, and that was just a time to celebrate my birthday and my friend's birthday, and it was the first time I had ever been there. In June, I got to surprise my parents by giving them tickets to Seattle and give them the tickets for my dad's birthday, my mom's birthday, and their anniversary. And then in August, we got to go together. Over the summer, I also got to go to Star Wars Land for the very first time, and that was really exciting to see it open. In November, I also got to do the hardship scholarship with my boyfriend, and we were able to give away more money than we did last year, and so that's very exciting, and I can't wait for next year. I also went to my first funeral of my entire life, and I also reconnected with some family members that I hadn't seen in a very long time. A word I would describe my 2019 is uncomfortable. I was put in a lot of situations that made me feel uncomfortable, but I had to really step out of my comfort zone, and thus I say I have grown. After you list out all of the highlights of your year, you want to spend some time being thankful for this year. So I'm going to write a thankful list of all the different things that I'm thankful for that have happened this year, big or small. Practicing gratitude increases your happiness, improves your mental health, and it also helps savor positive moments in your life that we often take for granted when time passes by. So it's great to just write it all down so that you can look back on 2019 and remember the good moments as well. Some victories that I've had is that I was able to work out 3 times a week. And I think keeping that schedule and keeping that discipline is something that I should thank my body and also thank myself for. But also thank you ClassPass, because that truly has affected me and my ability to work out a lot more. Number 3, what we're going to talk about is lessons in 2019. What are some lessons that you learned about yourself? What are some lessons you learned about your family? What are some lessons that you learned about your comfort zone? What did you learn about your habits? For me, one of the big things that I learned is that I actually can wake up super early in the morning, so just 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. Now that you and I know where we're coming from, I think it's so important for us to plan for the future. But of course, a lot of the things that we plan may not go according to plan, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. You want to have an idea of where you want to go so that you don't end up staying stagnant. Humans are really goal-oriented people, and we get motivated and self-motivated by having goals set for ourselves. But of course, it takes your everyday actions to get there. I want to read 2 Bible verses real quick. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." And Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's plan that prevails." And so it's just a reminder that we are not fully in control, but I do believe that with prayer, we are going to continually walk in step with what the Lord wants. What are you worried about in 2020? I think it's important for us to call out our fears. Call out your fears, call out your worries, and lift them up into prayer. And the Lord always reminds me that the fears that I had weren't really things that I needed to be afraid of in the first place. And so it's a great reminder for us to go back and remember, oh, I was so worried about this and look what happened. But me writing it down is a reminder that these are things that I'm not comfortable with, that I'm afraid of, and I can really grow from it. Next part of my journaling and planning is that I am going to divide my page into 4 quadrants. Quadrant number 1 is going to be big dreams. Quadrant number 2 is going to be my health goals. Quadrant number 3 is going to be my personal goals. And quadrant number 4 will be my professional goals. I guess health and personal could kind of be intermingled, but I wanted to keep them separate because I want to make some big goals for myself. Quadrant number 1, big dreams. Think big. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself being in the same exact state in 5 years, or do you see more? Big dreams are things that maybe you're even afraid to tell someone else. Write it down. Maybe it's silly and it's crazy and you can't even imagine you thinking these things are even happening. Write it down. Maybe you haven't even thought that hard about what you want your life to look like in the future. Write it down. So this is the place to really go crazy. Think big of what are some huge goals you wish to accomplish, maybe not in 2020, but sometime soon. Quadrant number 2 are health goals, and I think rather than putting a number, think of how you want to feel. How do you want your body to feel? How do you want your relationship with food and whatnot to feel? How do you want your relationship with sleep to feel? I think rather than thinking of I'm gonna stick to this amount of sleep or I'm gonna weigh this much, I want people to focus on feeling. Like, how do you want your body to physically feel? And it is possible. Number 3 are my personal goals. So how do I want to be as a person, as a believer? So I think self-development is so important. So for me, I always put how many books I want to read. I want to do more so I can make more, so I can give more. I also want to practice living more sustainably, and that means using less waste, using less plastic. I am so bad with that, but I do want to be more mindful of it in 2020. We need more people who are trying to live sustainably, even if it's imperfectly, than only a handful of people living sustainably perfectly, if that makes sense. So it's better for a lot of people to be trying and maybe not hitting the mark than only for a little bit of people doing it perfectly while everyone else does not care. And then professional goals. Professional goals would be all of my career-oriented goals. So for me, as an elementary school teacher and as a YouTuber and as someone who is also a health coach, I want to be able to help as many people as I can. And so getting more specific about what that looks like is important for me to write it down to hold myself accountable. So that's me planning out my 2020, and I'm so excited that you're here. I really hope that you guys will do these activities too, because it is very helpful and it's great to just kind of sit and reflect. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. I'll see you in 2020. Bye.